Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Lumino stream, another special Lumino stream live, and welcome to all of our friends, all of you who have been here before, all of you that are coming for the first time. Thanks for coming. We already have. I can see that we have people from Norway, from Tanzania, from Brazil, from Minneapolis. So that's pretty cool. I've just checked and we have 96 subscribers on our channel. So after this stream today, if we don't have at least 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be pretty mad. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do like our channel. And if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, go to luminocenter.com and do it today so you can know about all of our special events. By the way, today's a very special event, and it's one that you're going to want to stick around until the end because we have a special announcement. But before we talk about this, let me bring up my dear friend Denise and my dear friend Bill so they can introduce our guests. Hi, Denise. Hi, Bill.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good to see you. I'm doing great. Good to see you guys.
He's so nice to us. Does
He's
he
so- I
owe
don't know
us
if
money?
there's
or something?
something-
Well, I love you. That's what happens when we,
You're so nice. You know?
It's nice that you can talk about that.
Hey, everybody. It is nice to see you again. Today is a creative departure for us in the sense that normally here on Lumino Presents, we interview famous photographers, celebrity photographers. But as Rodrigo was hinting at, and I'll just spill the beans, we're official now. We're officially offering hands-on coursework in both Lightroom and Photoshop. And it's exciting because today you're going to get a taste of what that class is going to be like.
I'm Bill Carlson, and it's nice to see you all again. Today, you're going to get a generous taste of what these courses will be like, starting with Henrique Ribas. Henrique is a professional photographer and a true master of photo retouching and post-production. We're very lucky to have him. He's a true professional and a good friend of Lumino.
Henrique teaches Adobe Lightroom to both beginners and pros alike, and we're on the beginner side of Lightroom. And so is it true, Henrique, that even a beginner like me or a beginner like Bill, that even we could learn Lightroom?
Sure. Let's test it.
I mean, you'd have to be a
That's a
very
good way to do
patient
it.
person, right? You must be
Yeah.
patient.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Rodrigo, and especially Bill and Denise and everyone from Lumino. Everyone who is watching us at YouTube, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So guys from Facebook also. I just invite some people from Brazil and a lot of Americans that I know and Brazilians that are living abroad. So I hope they're there and say hello to everyone here. And thank you for being here.
Yeah, everyone, like if you're in the room, say hello, say where you come from. It's always nice to see you guys and see
Say
where
hello
you're
from
coming
Brazil. It's
from.
going to be great.
Hey, from
See you.
Turkey. Hello.
That is fantastic.
Someone from Turkey. That's Romina from Miami.
Oh, Romina.
Oh, hi, Romina. Hi, Romina.
Welcome,
We're so excited that you're all here. Ooh,
Bloomington.
David.
David.
Hey, I'm
Some-
in Bloomington.
Some Lumino
Armadale
neighbors.
Boulevard. Yes.
So, and what I've learned about teaching is that when you master teaching is when you start to know how to make people with 6 years old to know what you're talking about. So I masterize about Lightroom and Photoshop so I can teach like young people. So when I know how to develop, I know how to transmit this kind of information for the youngs, so everyone else can learn, because we're just here to make connections on our brain and make things happen. And Lightroom is not a beast. It's I think that it's gonna be awesome for all of photographers of all over the world. So thank you again, guys.
There will be no tears. No,
tears.
right? Okay.
No tears.
No
Tears of joy.
Only tears of joy. That's cool.
Ribas, I'd love to know how you made the jump from being a full-time photographer to because I understand you most of your time now you spend teaching, right? Like it's what you do mostly. So when was the time that you made this jump from being a full-time photography? And by the way, your photography is just awesome. You sent me a bunch of samples for this stream, and I was looking at some work that I haven't seen before, and I have some work in weddings, in sports, and all sorts of areas. But now you're a full-blown teacher, and it's been a full-blown teacher for a long time. How did that happen?
Oh, it all starts when my mom thinks about having me with my dad. You know,
Let's take it back, way back.
Yeah, that's right.
I used to be a computer scientist. Almost graduated in computer science at college, and realized that this is not what I want for me and my career. So I quit when I was like having only 3 or 4 grades to graduate. And I was in a really great depression. I really need to move along. So, and I just met photography in my life. I was passing by in a street here in my city in Brazil. I'm Brazilian from Belo Horizonte, the same city as Rodrigo. And I was passing by, and there was a letting at the street saying, photography course, call 999-999, and just called. And I started to know photography. It wasn't like in 2004. I started to shoot at this time with a point-and-shoot camera, a small one. And then I started to know that my background from IT was like so hard in my life, even though I didn't want to continue to program and develop software. I realized that I have something in common in photography. That was the softwares, Lightroom and Photoshop. Lightroom didn't exist at this time. I started to know Photoshop in 2004, 2005. And one of the first workshop that I did was with Rodrigo, right, Rodrigo? Can you give me back my camera with you guys? It's great to know who I'm talking to. I know it's going to be smaller.
We were talking about you behind your back.
Yes,
that's why
I know. I'm sure about it.
We muted the mic.
We have manners. Yeah.
Oh, my mic is muted. Yeah, we need to go behind the scenes, for a little bit to gossip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So one of the first workshop that I did about workflow and image development was with Rodrigo at his studio here in Belo. So it was like the amazing things that I did with my pictures. I just realized that even though I was a great photographer, I wasn't. I need to develop my pictures better to make it happen better in print and web. Web was not so great like it's now, right? And then when I was in IT, I have like certified. I was certified about Apple. I was certified about Oracle. I was certified about IBM and a lot of computer language like Java, .NET, and something like that. And I started researching about certifications in photography. And I realized that was like only one in the world. It's from Adobe. And then I started studying, and I passed for Lightroom 2 at Adobe certification for Lightroom Expert. Then I passed by again for Lightroom 3. And then they invited me for being a beta tester for the certification test for Lightroom 4 and 5. After that, Adobe didn't release any other certification for Lightroom. I don't know why, but there is no more certification for Lightroom at Adobe's program. After that, I started to know more about Adobe, and I became the second and now the only Brazilian that is at the beta tester team for Lightroom.
Oh, wow.
And one of the fields for Photoshop. So
some of your work, I think that one of the big things we have here is we love to see prints. Yeah. And if we can see some examples,
that'll be lovely. Yeah.
Your background is fantastic. And I think I've looked through just a little bit of your work, and it's really outstanding. So I would jump right into the prints and
yeah, so we can see the before and after.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good thing to say. This is not my pictures, you know.
It's not your picture.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. These pictures is from Signature Edits. This is a site from US, I think, that they provide some free raw image, and you're free to use. They have all the information about that. Some of my pictures I sent to Rodrigo, and
He's seen those. That's what Bill was
That's
referring
fantastic.
to. Bill
Yes.
has seen those. He's
But-
seen them.
Yeah, we've seen them all. Yeah.
With other people's work.
Right.
This is something that we haven't had before, is someone who's working with other people's work and
Right.
having a different interpretation.
yeah, the meaning is that I said, Rodrigo, let me show you some image that's not mine, so I can like mix my mind and know how to develop image that I'm not into every day, you know. And that's what I do every day, because I used to shoot weddings. So I did in my life like more than 600 weddings in my life since 2008, from 2017.
Yeah, but how many divorces?
Yeah, I
did
was
you
going
do?
to say.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't count it.
how much more
I
wedding?
didn't- yeah, me neither. Yeah, I haven't done any counting.
So-
I think one interesting point that this little bit of the discussion brings up is that for a long time, and maybe still today for some people, but for a long time, the job of the photographer and the job of the retoucher was very distinct. So especially in advertising, so a photographer would rarely retouch their own pictures.
Yeah.
Right.
They would be sent to a retouching agency sometimes, or a retouching professional to do that sort of composition. And that is something that I love to do. And I totally understand what Ribas is saying here, because I've asked him for his pictures for me to sometimes to work on, because it's way more fun, you know, when you get pictures from someone else and then you have that challenge to work on that picture. And this site, I didn't know about this site that he was mentioning, but it's a great resource for raw images for practice and exercise. So Ribas, if you can say the name again so people can search for it, because I think it's a great
Signature Edits, signatureedits.com. I just sent my website link, henriqueribas.com, and that's my pictures. You can
if
show
you want to
them.
see, Ribas pictures.
While you're writing, let me just finish my whole career here. Like maybe you can like know more about me. So
Yeah.
after that I realized that something IT will come like better in my life than only shoot. I just start to teach people about how to post-production. And as I was like in software development, and we have like many ways to do things more productively, I just pick up everything that I learned from IT and connect it to photography. And I realized that people from photography in a camera and start to shoot, and they didn't know how to deal with the whole file things, the whole bunch of images, and how to manage it, how to organize it, how to back it up, how to use a software to make it happen faster and with a lot of quality. And then I build a workshop that is completely focused on productive for photographers. So how to cull, in Brazil we call it select, how to cull image better and faster, and how to develop it, how to use presets for a better way to use it and reuse it. And let me just pick something here. I teach photographers how to use like a joystick to cull images, how to connect it and
that's
make
awesome.
it like comfortable for you. I use smart tables, like in US it's common to have like a loop deck and palette gear. That's some gadgets you can use to make it faster. So we can use also mid tables, is a sound table that we can like adapt with Lightroom and some plugins.
Wow.
That's cheaper, and I think it's better for me. So that's it.
Well, let's see some examples of that. That sounds really exciting. And
Yeah.
let's see, have you walk through some of the images and what you've done with them, whether or not they're yours or from the site.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. It's just I couldn't understand something.
Let's
Can,
have-
can you walk us through some of your your workflow?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. So the first thing that I do when I get home after a wedding or any kind of sessions, it's been like a photo shoot. I just put all of my image in my computer, and the first thing that I do, it's called backup, and that's the most important part of our workflow. It's because backup, it's like the thing that you're gonna be using if something happened that's not so good to happen, like a catastrophe. If you lose files from a client, it's
Yes.
not gonna be good, you know. So backup is not only copy from the SD card or the compact flash card to computer. I need to have like hard drives attached so I can copy it. I can like check the information is well copied, and then I unplug it and store it at my my house or my office or something like that. I don't have my files always connected on my hard drive, but how can I use my files while I'm not using my hard drive?
Once you get into the artistic part, I think one of our viewers are probably wanting to see what your actual changes are.
I would do that.
Because,
I'll do that. And one important thing at this part is that when I start to develop my images after I backup, I start to cool it, and then I filter to know exactly what's going to be the image that are going to be used. And I divide the photography post-production, like the whole photography thing, in 3 parts. 33% for photography, 33% for culling, and 33% for the development at Lightroom or Photoshop. Okay. If I can unite these three things, I have a great photography. So if I shoot well, I select it well, and I develop it well, I have the main products. So at talking about something about development now, so I can show you some tricks. Sure. I can pick, let's pick a new image here that I didn't use it. Let me just show it here. So I've never touched this image, so let me just reset it for sure here. The first thing that I do when I start to look at an image is something in the board of the image, so it's like distracting me. So I'm gonna use like a crop tool here. One important thing for a crop tool is not everyone is paying attention about this lock here. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very clearly.
Yes.
Yeah, this lock is not always closed. Sometimes it's opened, but when it's opened, I can like crop my image without proportion. So if I lock it, I have the proportion of my frame, so I can have it like at the same proportion of my sensor of my camera. So now I have the image in proportion. I just realized that this kind of thing is like distracting me, and this board here, I don't know what's that. It's white and it's distracting me. I'm just gonna eliminate this both of thing, and now I have another crop for this same image.
Perfect.
The first thing that I do to make the image better is to check the dynamic range of my image. The dynamic range, it's what it's like between the darkest part and the whitest part of my image, so I can have information that it's good to have, or I can lose information if it's my the way I want to do that.
Your choice.
So, yeah, it's my choice. But when I start to use the tools from Lightroom, I have like blacks that's gonna have the development at the black part of my image. So when I start to use it, I see that it's too dark at my image, but I don't know how dark is that and where is gonna be like a blowing up of black in my image. I don't have texture in some parts of my image, but I don't know where. So I hit the J key at my keyboard, letter J, and Lightroom gonna highlight with blue all the parts of my image that has no information. So while I'm using the black too, so I start to know where I have information or not. The same thing happened when I use the whites. So now Lightroom gonna paint my image with red where it's blowing up in white, you know? If I hit the J again, I know exactly what's gonna happen.
Ribas, I have a question, or actually two questions for you. For people that maybe are true beginners like I am, what kind of, are there bare minimums in terms of the hardware, in terms of the computer that someone would need, like a quality monitor, what is sort of the bare minimums and requirements of the computer that someone's going to need to get the most out of Lightroom?
Okay, if you enter at Adobe website, Adobe gonna suggest some minimum requirement. I don't agree exactly what they suggest because it's too minimum for me. They say like 4 gigas of RAM, and I think it's too slow for me. They don't recommend exactly a great graphic card and an old processor that i5 or i7, something like that. But the most important things in Lightroom and even in Photoshop is gigas of RAM. I suggest like 16 or 32. I have 64 at this new notebook that I have, but 16 is good. 32 is great. 64 is awesome.
Okay.
And
the more RAM, the better. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you still have like hard drives, physical hard drive, I suggest you to change for SSD, or if you can, SSD, M2, NVMe. So it's better for you to have a great how the hard drive is gonna deal with the image is better. And a GPU, that's a graphic card. Photoshop deal with better with GPU than Lightroom, but a great GPU is better. So maybe you can have like this kind of things to make the use of Lightroom better. I'll just finish this retouch of the image so people can know how can I deal with that and make some tricks.
Yes,
and I'm going to have some tips so they can make Lightroom better, even though you don't have a great computer.
Okay, that's good.
So I just realized that my whites here cannot blow up at her nose, and I have a lot of blacks here, so I use blacks just a little bit and whites just a little bit. I'll open my shadow so I can have like information at her hair. I'll just put exposure a little bit up, and I use highlights to recover some whites at my image. And I hit my J key so I don't need any more this kind of thing. I still have the background with a little bit of texture. So to exactly eliminate this kind of thing and don't mix it up with the image of the girl, I use my brush tool. The brush tool is so good to use when I especially hit the auto mask tool. What is going to happen? When I pass my brush at the place, the middle of my brush, the plus icon at the brush, it's going to identify what's the color and what's the luminosity of that place. So even though I put the blacks all to the minus 100, I will start to use it, and you can see I can like do not enter at some of my parts. So even if I enter in some, I can use the Option or Alt key, and I can like recover it. So I'll just use it for a while, so I can recover some hair and some part of this special place. So this is a trick. I'm gonna use it to make people know that Lightroom is not specially made for skin retouching, but I can do great job with that. This kind of tool, this is a graduated filter. I can do the same thing as the brush tool, but it's gonna have a graduator along the image. So if I put this exposure at the top of it at 4.0, if I put it from the bottom to top, you can see I make a graduation, you know? So the trick is, I won't use inside of the image, so I can pick only a part of the image. I will use it from the outside of the image, from outside of the image. Can you see that? I
Yes.
just put it from outside of the image to outside of the image.
So you started at the outside of the frame. So outside of the crop, that's where you start the gradient.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. And I won't use exposure for that. I'm just using it so you can see I'm using the tool. I will hit O so I can see my mask where I'm using
Right.
it. And I'll use a hidden place here. It's called range mask. That's off, so I can use it in color, so I can select colors. And when I open it, I have the eyedropper too. I click it, and I select part of the colors that I want it to be part of. So
Oh, that's
now
pretty cool.
I only select part of my image. The hair of the girl is still selected, so I can still click on brush tool. This is not this brush tool, it's an inside brush tool at the graduated filter. So when I click it and I use the erase tool, I can like remove it from the hair so it won't be like touch it. So I only have the skin and some part of the her
Right.
body. So I need to hit O again, and the trick is for a great development in skin retouching in Lightroom is to use texture. Old versions of Lightroom only have clarity, and clarity is a mess. You like have like a doll inside of Lightroom. I don't use this kind of powerful thing. It's not good. So the texture still have some powerful, and I want to use it a lot. I will use it with clarity for just a little bit, and for taking back some sharpness of my image, I will increase my sharpness so I can like have the, how can I say that, Bressani, os poros da pele.
Yeah, the pores. The pores. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, what the pores. Yep.
yeah. Let me just zoom in so you can see the before and after here. So her forehead's not so good, so Photoshop gonna be awesome here. But take a look from the eyebrow to the bottom.
Yeah.
I'll hit like before, after, before, after.
Oh wow.
So we have a great job here. I don't need. If I have this only me, if her forehead was like his the rest of her face, I won't have to have it at Photoshop. You know.
So what? But just to summarize here, what you did is like first you created a gradient, but in a way that people usually wouldn't use it because you use it totally outside of the frame. So what it did, it basically it created a full mask, right? So it created a full mask, but it's a full mask that you can brush off with the inside brush, and also you can select a part of the image based on color or maybe highlight or tone values, and then you make it's a way of making a very precise custom selection, basically, right? Is that what you did?
You are completely right. Take a look at this image. Can you see that the sky it's very different in light?
Very bright.
It's very bright, and the part of the mountains is not so bright. I can use the same graduated filter. I will start from the outside of the crop of the image. So I have this kind. I'm pushing.
Okay.
I'm pulling. How can I say? I'm pushing or pulling?
Yeah,
I'm
pulling it up. Yep.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. So I have the whole image selected, and at the range mask, I will try now not color, but I use luminous. And luminous, I can select between the darkest part or the widest part. So as I want to use it at the sky, it's white. So I pick this kind of place from range and remove it from the darkest part of the image. So I only have the whitest part selected. So if I hit O, you can see where I'm talking about. If you want to remove from part of the image that you want to be touched, so I can select brush, erase, and I can brush it up. So I have part of my image selected. I'll hit O again, and everything that I do is gonna be at that place.
Oh wow!
You know, so I have the power to use it. And also, have you heard about dodge and burning?
Yes.
Even I've heard about dodging and burning.
Even I.
The technique from dodge and burn is like to burn and to dodge some part of the image. So places that is brighter is become brighter, and darker is become darker at specific place. But if I want to do that, use the same tool that I was using, I can pick up the same graduated filter. I just put it from outside of the image. I'm hitting O just to see if it's okay. I will select first my luminance range mask. I will start from range for the whitest part. Can you see I'm just in select part of my image?
Yeah.
And I can put my whites, so I can make this part of my image white. And I can create new ones and make it again at the same place. And at the range mask of luminance, I start with the blacks now. So I have like the two different parts of my image, and now I will like increase my blacks. I didn't do anything besides this kind of contrast too, but I'm using
would
an
you say
intelligent
this?
way, you know?
Would you say this is it's a a way of kind of fixing one of the things that are missing in Lightroom? That's the ability to stack layers, and you basically found a hack to it.
Yeah. Lightroom do not have especially the tools that have layers like in Photoshop or Capture One. We don't have this kind of possibility, but I can make stacks of graduated filters, brushes, and what's the name of the other one in English? I'm sorry about that. The radial filters. So I can stack it and use it like layers. Other tools that I have layers that not so much people know about that. I cannot brush and move it like the special filters here. It's tone curves. I have 5 tone curves disposed for me. I have the first one that we call the like parametric. I can like create lights and darks using this kind of tool. I have the second one, that's the point curve, and this is separate. So I can have like another kind of way of treat my images like in a second layer.
Right.
And I have 3 colors that I can like mix up 6 colors. Like from if I choose the blue channel, if I put it up, I can like make my image blue at the whitest part or yellow at the whitest part, and I can have like the same thing happening with the other ones that is independent. So I'm really trying to hack Lightroom so I can use most of its power, so I can make my image better using the tools that I have without having it to Photoshop. Because talking about productive, if I put my image in Photoshop, they will expand my raw file. They will go through from 25 megabytes from 100, 200 without sometimes I don't need this kind of thing. I can solve my whole problems in Lightroom, you know?
In Lightroom. Hey, just before we move on with more examples there, I want to remind the audience that if you guys want to send in some questions, and feel free to be very specific, like maybe you have a specific problem in Lightroom or something that you just don't know how to do, or you just have no idea how to achieve. This is the time to ask it, because then Ribas, I'm sure, will be more than happy to bring up some of his sample files and just tweak it around until you figure out how to solve that problem, that specific problem that you have. But speaking of problems, Ribas, and before we move on to another example here, I know that a complaint that people have about Lightroom since the beginning is about its performance, right? So people find it to be very slow sometimes, very like a very resource-consuming piece of software, and you have a way to set it up that makes it the experience of using Lightroom as smoothest as possible, right? So how do you do it? How do you fix that thing about Lightroom?
Okay. First thing you need to know is that here at the left of our catalog, we have the menu called catalog, and we have the all photographs. it says here how many photos you have inside of your database. Lightroom is not limited in many images that you can put in and import it inside of it. But if you have too many images, it's like you're putting so many information that have to deal with that. So if you were a wedding photographer, can you say graduated photographer, graduation photographer from college? We have like a lot of it in Brazil, so they shoot a lot of images. I used to shoot weddings, like the last wedding that I remember, it was in Rio de Janeiro. I shoot like 16,000 images, my whole team, and I have to deal with that.
Wow.
And I created a single catalog for this wedding. And every wedding that I have a single catalog for that. So if you do not shoot so many images like in a wedding, you can have only one catalog for your whole projects. But I really suggest that if you want to have more performance, use Lightroom with smaller catalog, like 2,000 images, 30,000 images, no more than that. That's the first thing. The second thing that's not so common to hear is that if I have an image opened, you have the navigator at your left and you have the histogram at your right. Every time that I move to one image to another, take a look at the navigator and at the histogram. It moves the image, and then after that, it moves the navigator, and after that, it moves the histogram. Can you see that you have a delay between changing it? So
very clear.
If you close the histogram and the navigator, you don't have, you say to Lightroom, okay, Lightroom, do not pay attention to these two tools. It's a little bit more performance.
So gain a little bit of resource just by hiding that. And that's a good point, because those are things that you probably only are going to use when you're developing a specific image. So you don't need to have that open at all times, just sucking off some resource from your machine that's very precious. That's a great tip.
Yeah,
people may say that, oh, that's not necessary. It's too few things that I'm gonna gain. But if you have these little things together, you're gonna have a lot of time.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Machine work not so strenuously.
more efficient.
Yeah,
It's those little hacks like that make the difference.
Yeah, that's makes the difference.
But how about the preference? Is there anything in the preferences?
I went to that. Let me just say another thing that's so common to see people, especially the beginners in Lightroom. Can you see that if I hit the E key, I can put my image using the main screen showing it. But if I'm in library, if I hit develop, the image is almost the same size. Can you see that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And people start to think about, oh, if I start to select to call my image in develop, I start to, oh, okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, that's a great one. But before moving to the other image, I would let me check here, even though I'm already at the develop mode. So you start to develop while you were culling the image.
And you're mixing them up. And so it's best to do one thing at a time.
That's the first thing.
That's candidate.
Do one thing at a time. And do your culling at the library.
Right.
Because when you start to call it as develop, it's reading the raw file, the original raw file with all the information. So the thing is hard to read.
Yeah.
But when you start to read inside of library, take a look of how my Lightroom is so fast. I can move my image so fast because it's reading a preview of the image.
Sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's showing a JPEG. Basically.
It's a JPEG. It's not the raw file.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
And that part of the workflow, it's when you're importing your image. Take a little breath and make Lightroom work for you before you start culling or editing, and use the standard preview or the 1.1 preview. So they read the whole image, the raw file, generate the preview in JPEG with some more or less information. The standard is a little bit smaller than the one-on-one preview, but they will increase your catalog with information. And when it's finished to import your image with this preview build, you can like scan your image so fast that you won't see any performance issues, you know?
Ribas, I have two questions from the audience here. One
Okay.
by our good friend, Pat Carney, another Lightroom god. So he wants to know if you think that the database part of Lightroom is the most important. And I guess by that, what he means is like, because the Lightroom was the one software that introduced this sort of thing, right? I remember when before Lightroom, you didn't even have libraries, or you didn't work with that sort of a concept. You would have your bridge or your
I got it.
file browser.
If you remove the database part of the Lightroom, we only have like the camera raw application, that the development part. So yeah, I think the database is so important, but I think he means that if you have like one catalog with cataloging the whole bunch of images that I have, it's so important, so we can find any image of any job at any time. I agree with that. But the workflow that must be done is, in my opinion, if you have so much image during only one section, like a wedding with 16,000 images, I won't put in a database to be made for research or to be found in the future. This bunch of 16,000 images, I will select it, I will call it for 1,000, for 800, and these 800 images I can put in a general catalog that is, it's going to be my database, so I can like search for images, or searching for my portfolio, searching for any kind of image during my whole career, and not for only one wedding that I'm going to have this bunch of images that's going to have a lot of information that's going to be my Lightroom is lower than ever, you know? Can I be understood about that?
Yeah. And he
I
concludes
agree with
that.
Pat. I agree with Pat. The database is the place where people make big mistakes. I agree with that.
And Carlos asks if you process your originals, or if you work on a backup and you have your pure raw file saved somewhere else. I hope I understood your question correctly,
Yeah,
Carlos.
I got it. Remember that I said to build that the first thing that I do is backup. I copy all of my image from my SD card to two separate hard drives, and after I unplug one of them, I hit import. I import my image from my hard drive. I use the add photos to gallery without moving them. This first things here upside, and I use the standard or the one preview, but I build my smart previews. What it does is, when I have it selected, it reads my raw files and stores a small DNG file that's called Smart Preview with a small resolution, but it is still a raw file inside of my catalog. And after it's finished, I can unplug my hard drive, and I still have the option to select and to develop my image so fast because I'm reading a small file. That's a great part to have, like my Lightroom running faster than ever. You know, I hope he understands what I'm saying.
And I'm guessing when you
that.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing when you plug
what you said.
I can simulate that. Can you see my folder SE here?
Yes.
Signature edit, it's on. If I select my image, Control A or Command A, I go here to library, and I go here to, I'm sorry, I'm going to have library, and I'm going to preview, and I'm going to build Smart Preview. That's the second way to do that when I didn't import building a Smart Preview.
Right.
So when I hit build a Smart Preview, it's gonna store a small DNG file that's called Smart Preview inside my catalog. And if I unplug my hard drive, or if I go to this folder, I'll just simulate that. If I go to this folder and rename it Lumino, now Lightroom won't see this folder anymore. So it's like I unplugged it from my hard drive.
Right.
Can you see you have like a question mark here at the folder?
It can't see the originals. That's what it's saying,
They
right?
can't see the originals. So it says that with this little flag here, it's a smart preview, and I can still select it, and I can still develop my images even though I don't have my raw image with me. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And Ribas, I'm guessing when you like you develop the whole thing without your hard drive connected, and as soon as you plug it back, it will sync that with the originals, right?
Correct.
So
Right.
I'll change my folder again to the original. You see that my my folder got back. It's like I plug back my hard drive. That flag that say that it has smart preview, it's off. So it understands that, oh, Ribas is using the original file. Now we have the full information. If you export it, it will have the same megapixels information from the original. So it's automatically doing that. Okay.
okay, cool. Two more
About the
questions.
preference, can you do that?
What is that?
Can you just pass by from the preference so people can know that, or do you want to?
Yeah. So while you open the preferences, let me just bring in two questions from the audience, and guys, just keep sending them. This is the time to do it. So Hubbard Cole is saying that he cannot comprehend taking 60,000 images of a wedding. Was it 60,000 or 16? 16, Hubbard. It's still a lot, you know.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
It's still a lot, I'll take it. But
it's not a common wedding. It was like 3 or 4 days at Rio. It's from an artist, and we have like a lot of jobs to do. From how can I say that? It has a party one day before the wedding. We have the dinner for the people. We have the ceremony. We have the party, and we have the after party. So we have many things to deal with that. So the main the whole bunch of images was like almost 16, not 60. Okay, but it's a lot.
Ribas, can you imagine that at one time there was no delete button on a camera?
Yeah. Everything you couldn't call.
There was no culling. There was no culling. It was.
And also
during your shoot, right?
And also 24 poses.
I agree, it's a lot. I agree. I have like 4 or 5 photographers doing that wedding. So the 16,000 images was from the 4 or 5 photographers from
the group.
Okay.
Pat asks if you store your Lightroom catalogs.
That's a great question, Pat.
Locally or not?
If you want to have more performance, store it at your faster hard drive or SSD inside your computer. If you store it at external hard drive, you have the cable, the USB cable that's gonna drain a lot of performance. And if you have a hard drive, a common hard drive inside your computer, it's gonna be slower than if you have a SSD. And if you have a NVMe M2 SSD, you're gonna be faster than ever. So store it at your own computer at the fastest hard drive, please.
I can already see that I'm going to need a monitor the size of a Buick because I mean, I know this is just a representation of your screen, but everything is so little, you know?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My resolution is so
I'm just realizing that, you know, my comfort level, I mean, I'm going to need everything to be
a big cinema screen.
A big cinema screen, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, but you want to pull up those preferences and give us the performance tip?
To enter at the preference, is going to be at the edit button here at on a PC, or if you're using Macintosh, you're going to hit Lightroom button. It's just at the left corner of file here. And after that, it's going to be at preference. And at preference, I will just go from the performance tab here. And one important thing is not almost the GPUs are compatible with Lightroom. So please take a look at the Learn More button if your GPU is compatible, Because if it's not, maybe you can see some weird things, some artifacts at your image that's not so common. And if you're seeing that, the suggestion that I have is disable your GPU, so you do not have faster usage of the GPU at some tools, but you won't see some
but
artifacts.
for the beginners, the GPU is their graphics card.
The graphics card, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
The graphics card. The graphic card. One important thing is, Rodrigo, is Lightroom do not use GPU, the graphic card, all of the time. Only some tools, like the special tools that I showed at the beginning, like crop, like spot removal, like red eye removal, the radial filter, the graduator filter, and the brush tool. Right. That's the main part that the GPU is being used. So if you don't have a great GPU, don't worry so much, because GPU is not so much used in Lightroom besides this kind of tools. But if you want to have more performance, I have 3 tips here that can make it happen and make it faster. When you start using Lightroom for the first time, this camera raw cache here is set to 5 gigas. So it stores some information inside your hard drive, and you can change it here. If it's pointed to a slower hard drive, I recommend it to point it for faster hard drive. But I recommend it to put more gigas for that, so he can store informations about your Lightroom. So when you pass from an image to another, it has more information that makes your Lightroom faster. When you think your Lightroom is not so fast enough, you can purge this cache, put all of the things that is stored, and release some information so they can store more information about this new catalog or this new information that is storing. I recommend put at least 20 gigas, or in my case, 50 gigas. I'm using a computer with 2 terabytes of SSD, so I have a lot of space here, but 50 gigas, it's okay for me.
Is it important that the cache is in the same location as the catalog, or it doesn't make a difference?
If you have the catalog at the fastest SSD, it's good to have the cache at the same thing. But if you still have your catalog at the external hard drive, I recommend you change the cache for the SSD. That's Great. Faster. Okay. One thing that's good to know is that you have this develop part here, and you have 2 different items, so I can check it and uncheck it. By default, Lightroom check its enable hover preview of presets in loop. What does it mean? I'll hit OK. I'll choose an image here. I'll go to develop model. At the presets panel, I have a lot of presets that come with Lightroom, and even though even if you create your own presets, you're gonna have the same information. If I pass scrolling through the presets,
sure,
it shows us how it's going to happen with the development.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. But if you have a slow computer, I really recommend you're going to add it preference and you uncheck it. So when you start, have you realized when you start to think, oh, what kind of thing that I want at the market, you are like putting your finger, I want this, So that's the same thing. And when we start to think, oh, what kind of presets that I have, I need this. Okay, it's better for you to hit the preset and check it, or open the navigator for a while, and the navigator can show it in a small size. Can you see it? And then you close the navigator and start the process, because it drains a little bit of the processor. And the last things from this panel at performance, I uncheck the enable hover preview, and I check use smart preview instead of the originals. Remember that I create the smart preview when I import it. And if you insist to use your hard drive plugin, if you created the smart preview, it is still use the smart preview instead of the originals. So you have the Lightroom faster, even though the hard drive is still plugged at your computer. So I think that's more than 10 tips that I give to you about performance. But
Yeah, those are very important. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I think it's, I mean, of course, if you have like the best of the best machine and computer, you're gonna want everything turned on, right? But if you
no,
don't,
no, no.
no, okay,
Let's just
tip 11.
Yeah. I changed my whole life from Mac user for a PC. I used to be a Mac user from 2004 until last month. I don't know if everybody knows about that, but I live in Brazil, and the MacBook 16 is costing here like
Small house, small
35,000.
house.
It's like a car.
Small house.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
I realized I want to pay for that. So I built the best PC ever, and I have a great processor from latest. I have 64 gigas, 2 terabytes of SSD. I have a faster machine here. But until last month, I was using an iMac from 2013 with
Oh, really?
32 gigas of RAM and a MacBook Pro 15 with 16 gig of RAM, and I was using the same configuration that I'm using now. And I still have, even though I have the best machine ever here, I still have the same configurations that I set.
I can see that you really stress the smart preview
Yeah.
option for a
Yes.
reason, because oh my goodness, otherwise you would be waiting for hours to get to one image to load up.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I don't have this load. Lightroom uses almost of the time you see that loading. It's
Yeah.
because you're trying to reach the original raw file and make the previews during your job. So I don't have this kind of problems because I make my computer work while I'm sleeping. So when I wake up, all my previews and smart previews are built, so I can like organize it and call it and develop it without any kind of speed issues,
But Rodrigo doesn't sleep, so when
Yeah, I was gonna say that
and
Yeah.
that wouldn't work for me.
won't work for him.
Yeah, Rodrigo
Hey,
is
this is-
special.
Yes, especially weird.
I have a question for you. Maybe some people out there are wondering the same thing. How will a class work? Will you be sharing? Will everyone be sharing their screens with you, or what will the configuration of the class be like?
Okay, Rodrigo may explain the technology beside it, but according to the contents that are gonna be introduced into them, I passed by from a lot of tools here, and I didn't stop to explain how it really works. So we're gonna be following the whole workflow process, from a great backup, from a great import, from a great creation of catalog, from explaining the main tools here, from exposure to contrast to highlights to shadows to blacks to whites, and what's the difference between them, and the meaning of the contrast at the image. And one tip that I can have to you is that everything in Lightroom photography is about contrast. Every tool that I use here, it's contrast. It's not the tool called contrast. It's the, how can I say that? It's the concept of contrast.
Mhm.
If I put my blacks down and my whites up, I'm doing contrast. If I put my highlights up and my shadows down, I'm inserting more contrast. So if I use the texture and the clarity, I'm using contrast in a small part of my images. I use the sharpening, I'm using contrast in a little small part of my image. So I'll explain everything from the how the engineers did that inside of Lightroom, so you can understand when you have some issues and some problems and some images, you can pick up this exactly too, so you can develop your image better. And finish it with export for printing and for web, so you do not have any kind of issues when you start to publishing your images and have oh, my image is not so sharp, my image is not so good. So we're gonna finish with that.
Rebus, will you give everyone in the class, like let's say in your first class, which is, when is it, the 22nd?
22nd.
Will you?
So we haven't announced it yet, Denise. What are you talking about? Nobody knows about this class.
Oh my.
Like I'm holding this information here. I hope this this stream ends quickly because I have this announcement, and then Denise comes and tell everyone about the class. Now go ahead and do it.
You can't share it.
No, I'm kidding. But I'm just but it's guys, just so just Henrique was very kind to join us to a proper class, because after doing all these streams, we realized, and people have been asking us for more hands-on content for things that they can actually learn, and because it's always great to see photos and to see your favorite artists, your favorite photographers, but we're all here to learn, and we want to learn how to do better with our photography. And Ribas is one of those people that will gift us this first class with Lumino. So the class is going to happen on the 22nd of February. And Ribas, if you can talk a little bit about what we're going to learn, because I know it's completely different from what we had today, because today was just a conversation, and there is just not time or not the environment to do this. But in a class, you actually go from step 0 to step ninja, as you call, right? In Lightroom. So what does that mean? So what am I going to learn on your class on the 22nd?
Yeah, the meaning of ninja is that you're gonna master the whole thing from zero, if you don't know anything, from the best job you can do with Lightroom. So I will teach you how to manage your image and back it up. So how it's gonna be great to have this kind of security inside of your workflow, how to code, how to filter, and how to organize your image inside of Lightroom like a pro using collections, and organize it inside of the library. How to develop your images, extracting the best from the files using the or the smart preview as the raw file, or even though you have like JPEGs, no problem. You're gonna teach you how to use it and extract the best of it. How to create presets like a pro, and how to use the pro tools. The pro tools that I called, it's like the whole special brush, the radio, and the smart filters that I have, and use like a ninja, so you can extract the best from your image and use it at the best way, and finish with exporting correctly for printing and web. I think that's going to be the whole workflow from beginning to like intermediate or to ninja, so you can like master your image and make it better for publishing it.
That's wonderful.
Well,
that's brilliant.
Is so important. It's not just fixing the image; it's taking an image and enhancing and make it better.
Yeah. In my job, Bill, I really appreciate that the image it's talk more about photography than the development. So I want to increase my process over than the image can like have it. So I'll increase the quality of my image besides of manipulating. So if you want manipulation, we can talk about Photoshop and make change the sky and put someone my ex-wife in the same picture or something like that, or remove the ex-wife from the picture or something like that.
But, in the sky.
In the sky. But in Lightroom, we're gonna develop the image to make it better, to enhance the power of it, so we can make the sky better, more blue, or the skin look better, the exact color, and use the tool like a pro or like a ninja, as I said.
That's wonderful. We have a question from David asking about the length of the class, how long the class is going to be, and it's going to be around 2 hours, because we want to have David, we want to have enough time for questions. So there will be plenty of time for everyone in the class to ask questions, and Ribas is going to go on each one of them, and of course, if we need a little bit more time, we can go as well.
You can use me.
And
And
yeah.
how many people is there going to be a limit to how many people we can have in the class, Rodrigo?
Yes. We're making it limited because of the questions. So because of the Q&A, just so we can have just make it work. So it's not like an open field. So if you want to be in the class, you want to go right away to luminocenter.com and you can sign up from there. Make sure you go, as quick as you can, because the spaces are indeed limited.
Okay.
Good to know.
Okay. And here's maybe a silly question. I know you said that you're going to take everybody from soup to nuts, hors d'oeuvre to dessert, but are you going to, at any point, will everyone be looking at the same image and doing the same kinds of contrasts on like one image? Will everyone be working on the same thing together?
The whole course will be, can I say, demonstrative?
Demonstrative.
Yeah, I will show.
Uh-huh.
I will show how to do it. I will use the same pictures you're using now. I can send the link to you to download to use at your computer, and can follow me while I'm explaining.
Step by step. Okay.
But I will show you, and then you can make it happen at your own computer. But I want to see your computer while you're doing that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Will people be able to ask questions, during the class? So if they say, "Hey, Ribas, wait a minute, I can't find the tool that you're working on," will we be?
I think so, Rodrigo. What do you say about that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It will be live, pretty much like this stream, except there will be the link will be a secret link. So just for for class.
Okay.
But people can ask, can join. There will be a special time for actual like deep questions that Ribas will take more time.
Okay.
But the participation will be plenty, and people will be able to ask away.
And one important thing is that maybe you're thinking, oh, Ribas gone too fast at this class today. It's going to be faster than that because I didn't stop it. I didn't explain the tools. No, going to be like slower than ever, so you can understand that, so you can make things be understood. So calm down, don't worry about that. It's going to be at the best level of how can you understand the tools and make things a little bit more understandable than faster than we did today. We're here to show how things work and not to teach everything about it.
I like your suggestion of maybe sending the people who sign up for the class a link to then download a database of photos, so that everybody is operating with the same library,
same selection,
and then you through all of the steps. I mean,
I can do that. I can do that.
Great.
No problem. And one day before the class, maybe people can send some questions before the class, so we can answer during the class without stopping to answer it, or to make people make the question. So if someone just subscribe for that, they can already send some information or some questions, so we can make it happen better.
Terrific.
And Ribas, as a last question about the course, what level should I be in to be part of the class? Is it for the beginners? Is it for the intermediate? What's the level?
I think if you're a pro, you're gonna extract some great information to make your workflow better. But I think from beginners and intermediate people, we're gonna extract more information, because we're gonna build the whole workflow from the real beginners and pass by from great information and leveling up from ninja, from more than 100% of knowledge, to make it better for you. But everyone is gonna be great at the end of this class. I'm sure of that. Oh, if you don't know how I know that, I started to teach Lightroom and Photoshop since it was 2006, and since then I have more than 10,000 students with me. I present for speeches for more than 2,000 people at the stage. I have more than 400 people in my online class today. So don't worry about that. And if you want to know more, and if you want to ask questions before you subscribe for the course, I'm really open for helping you. So at Henrique Ribas is my Instagram, or maybe you can send information to Lumino and they can send me, and I can write the email back for you. No problem with that. Okay.
Sure. Wow.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Much. This is so exciting.
Thank you. I'm gonna have you both at my class, right?
Well, first of all, we have to buy Lightroom, so that might be step one. Buy Lightroom.
Oh, that's a great question that you didn't do, but we answered. If you enter at adobe.com, you can subscribe for Lightroom and Photoshop at a photography plan for $99, I think, that for a month.
Really?
$9.99. It's so cheap for you to have Lightroom and Photoshop at the same package. So it's a subscription. There's no way to buy the software anymore.
Oh wow!
But it's so cheap according to nowadays. I remember that I used to pay like $200 for the Photoshop or something like that for the whole package.
$10 a month. That's
yeah, $10.
Fantastic.
Oh wow!
Let me just check.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
Okay.
Well, Ribas, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming in. This was an interesting stream for us, very different than the ones we had before. This was way more hands-on, and we were actually able to see a little bit of the insides of the beast, like how photographers work and operate. And I'm sure the class will be a success, and I hope.
Thank you, my friend. And
I hope just everyone that can join, do it, because it's going to be great.
Thank you. I just realized one thing. Maybe people are thinking, oh, you're gonna use his image or a bunch of images that I don't shoot that. And if you subscribe for the course, I didn't talk to you about that, but if you subscribe to the course, you can send me your raw image, and I can develop your raw image during the class, so you can have the feeling that, oh, that's my raw, that's how I shoot. That's how he's developing, and maybe we can make connection to make things better for him. Okay,
that is fantastic.
Very generous.
I love that.
That is brilliant. That's brilliant. All right, guys. So sign up for the course. Send in your pictures so you guys can use them in the course.
Laundry. I do have some laundry that do. I mean, I don't have time.
I can move to your house. I have a kid and a wife. No problem about that.
I'm excited.
Don't invite me twice, okay?
I'm excited. I'll see you there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.